Alright, so now we're actually going to start looking at fractions, and it looks like we're adding and subtracting them today. So let's go over some things that typically scare people. Number 5 is a good candidate to start. We have 6 minus 1 over 6. Well, we know we need like bases to add or subtract fractions, but we only have the whole number 6, and then we have it minus a fraction. So how do we do that? Well, as we learned in the improper fractions video, isn't 6 over 1 the same as 6? Yes. So now we do have a denominator for it, so now we just need to figure out which one of these can we get to a like base. Well, if we multiply the denominator of this one by 6, would we not have the same like base? So we do 6 times 6 and 6 times 1. We're going to end up with 36 over 6 minus 1 over 6. Now, if you're like me, whenever I'm not certain of something I've done right, I'm going to take this problem here, where I said this is equivalent to this, and I'm just going to check. 36 over 6. Well, 6 is... So we're right back to where we started. That's exactly what we want. Remember, on this test, you do have a calculator. Some people are going to have trouble making sense out of what the calculator will return to them. You have about 2 minutes on this problem. It doesn't hurt to check to make sure you made that fraction correct. Alright, so from here it's pretty straightforward. We have like bases, so now we just need to take 36 minus 1. It's 35 over 6. Now this may be the option. This is correct. But if you don't see it, what do? So we're going to take this and we're going to divide 6 into 35. Well, we have 5. Just 30, bring down that with the remainder of 5. So we have 5 and 5/6. Not 5/5, because then we would just be right back at 6. And that's the potential answer on the test. But what if we don't see that? Well, what do? We're not going to worry too much about it. We're going to rewrite it here. Well, to make this an improper fraction, we multiply here and we add here. So 6 times 5 is 30. And then we're going to look at this. So we need to add 5. So we're going to have 35 over the same denominator, 6. This is another potential answer on the test. How do we check that? The same way. Again, I know we have 5. We're left with 5 here. 5/6. That is the exact same answer we have above. So we're done with this problem. So here's the potential 3 answers you're going to be able to find. Now, they won't be mixed in. You won't have 2 correct answers and have to pick one on the test. Your potential answers are going to be... Sorry, let me change colors here. This is number 1, 35 over 6. You may have 5 and 5/6. And you may have 35 over 6. Become comfortable with all of these answers because they're all potential answers. Huge eraser here. Oh, it erases my problem too. That's cool. Well, that's the one we've done, so now we have a work area. Still learning. Alright, what's the next scariest looking one? This one, I guess, could look scary to a lot of people. We have negative 4/5. We have negative 7/8 or minus 7/8. We have no similar base again. This was not as pleasant because we can't just slap a 1 underneath and multiply both numbers by 6. We need to figure out what they're going to have in common that we can work towards to get these denominators the same. I'm going to say my quickest thing is just multiply the 2 denominators and get 40. We know we're going to want everything over 40 so that they have a common denominator. Well, luckily, since we multiplied them together, we also know what we have to multiply each one by, because 5 times 8 is 40. So 8 times 5 is 40, and 5 times 8 is 40. So we're going to start with that, And we're going to simply start. I've lost my pen. Hold on. All right. So we're going to take 8 times negative 4 over 5 minus 5 times 7 over 8. Now there may be some confusion here because you've noticed that the negative 7/8, and I've written positive here. Well, when we distribute this 5 in, I've brought the negative out. This will come in with the 5, resulting in a negative number again. I do this just to make it easier and to bring up the point that you can do it either way. We could have done plus 5 times negative 7/8, and we would have ended up with the same result. So let's go ahead and distribute the 8 in. We're going to end up with, which is pretty much what we've done here. This is an understood positive, so we're doing the same thing. And here's our negative. 8 times 4 is 32 over 8 times 5, which is 40. Now, to clear up the potential confusion here, we're going to distribute a negative 5 to 7. We're going to leave the negative here. We're just going to distribute the 5 right in. We're going to end up with 35 over 40. So now we have 2 choices here. We can go ahead and just straightforward subtract them, or we can say we're going to distribute this negative. We'll do both. I'm going to start first on this one is option 1, where we will be not distributing, and we will be distributing. Sorry. We will be approaching this as a straightforward subtraction problem. I'm going to have negative 32 over 40 minus 35 over 40, which looks a lot like the original problem we have, minus the parentheses, but we don't need them because we've already distributed the negative in. So negative 32 minus 35 will give me negative. Why does that look bad to me? I don't know why that looked bad to me. It's correct. Negative 67 over 40. Now, before we go on, we need to look at this and say, can this be simplified? Well, 67 is odd, so 2 will not go into it. Let's see if 3 will. Well, 6 plus 7 is 13. 13 is not divisible by 9 or 3, so 3 cannot go into it. 40 is divisible by that, but 67 is not. 5, 6 is 10. 66 is the closest we're getting. So we're gonna go ahead and say that that's a safe bet to say we're not simplifying that. Now we're gonna do it the second way, and that's simply with distribution. I guess we don't really need to do 1/5 plus 1/5, so we're not going to sweat losing that. Alright, so now we're going to talk about distributing it in. So we're going to have negative 32 over 40. And we're going to go ahead and write the minus so that we know we're distributing it. Minus 35 over 40. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this negative and distribute it in. So what happens when I have a negative and distribute it in? I am left with a positive. And once that negative comes right into here, I have 35 over 40. And there's nothing to distribute here. It's already set. 32 over 40. So what is negative 32 plus negative 35? Thinking about it on the number line, we're going to be at negative 67 over 40. Same answer, 2 different approaches. Number 9 should look a lot less scary now for anyone. Alright. And I can't read your mind through the internet, But we're going to go with number 10, where we actually have a positive, and I didn't mean to do that, 1/3 minus a negative 5/3. Now go ahead and pause the video at this point. Think about the problem we just did, number 9. Solve it, see where you land, and let's move on. Hit play again once you have it solved. Alright, here's your chance to pause it. Welcome back. So we're going to look at the negative that we have to distribute in. So last time we had a positive in here, and this became negative. Well, now we're doing negative times a negative. So we're going to end up with positive 5/3. Plus, and then 1/3 here. Oh, our operator's already been changed for us to a positive. So simply 6/3. Don't count on this being your answer on the test. It's not going to be. They're going to want you to simplify it. And not to give it away right away, but let's give you a second to think about what it's going to be. Especially if you just watched the fractions video, you should be ready to know that what we're probably going to be looking for on the exam, on exam day, is 2 as your answer. That does not mean 6/3 is incorrect. You have either one of those. They will not both be there unless the directions say in simplest terms or form. Then they may both be there, but those directions also have to change your thought process on your answer and know that 6/3 is no longer correct because it is not in the simplest form. 2 is. So 2 is ultimately the best answer. Number 8, straightforward. And number 6 is fairly straightforward. We'll do that one really quick. If I have 1/2 of something and 1/2 is taken away, I have nothing left. And then this is just straightforward. And we just did 10. So I hope this video was helpful. If it wasn't, or you would like to have any questions or would like to know a little bit more about it, or like to see an additional video with more complicated things, maybe mixed numbers, comment and let me know.